Good morning, children. Welcome back to the social session. Children, for the past few days, we have been learning the impact of colonialism in India. We have seen the Britishers' impact on the forest, and we also have seen the impact on the industries, how the taxation policy was discriminatory by these British rulers. And we also will learn the impact of these British policies even on the laborers in India. Laborers and labor policies and labor associations also we will see under this unit. So today we learn about the problems of the Indian industry at the time of independence, why the Indian industries had suffered at the time of independence, what were their problems. We also learnt during the First World War, that means during 1914 to 1918, when the British companies were very busy in producing the arms and ammunition and the material required for the wars, and many of the ships were also engaged in moving the arms and ammunition only, so war material. There was a necessity for the Indian goods to be produced within the country. So there was a huge demand for the Indian goods, and the Indian industries had prospered. They have become rich also during this period. And after a long struggle, Indian industry had got a little help from the British government. Why and how it got the help mean? A very large number of factories, banks, ships were in the control of the Europeans. As you know that not only the transportation, even banks were under their control, which can accumulate the capital, and even the ships were also under their control. Europeans had many advantages for these companies. How? Because they could easily contact the officers in the Britain from the British government, whereas Indians were never able to do so. All the foreign trade was in the hands of the Europeans only. Hence, they had no shortage of funds either. Many of the British companies had no shortage of funds. They had huge capital. They can get the things done from the British authorities very easily. But whereas the Indian companies, they cannot approach the British authorities itself. The Indian factory owners, they cannot even approach to the British officials. They used to look down to the Indian factory owners. Even though the Europeans had more influence in industries, Indian industrialists had developed a great deal. For example, Indian industries were able to control the textile industry. The most important industry in the development of the industrial development of the country is the textile industry, and it is one of the oldest industry in the country itself, because cotton is abundantly grown here. Yesterday I told you the first textile industry was established in Mumbai, and later it got expanded to Ahmedabad and Surat. Why they got established there also we have seen, because cotton is abundantly grown in Gujarat, Maharashtra and Telangana region. For that reason, most of the textile industries are also got concentrated in this region. The greatest achievement of the Indian industrialists was the steel factory at Jamshedpur, which got established by Jamshedji Tata in Jharkhand region. So this was the first Indian industry. We call this industry as a TISCO. TISCO बोलते हैं, अब तक चल रहा है. टाटा आयरन एंड स्टील कंपनी है इसका नाम. ये कहाँ पे शुरू करे? जमशेदपुर में करे थे. जमशेदपुर. कौन करे इसको? जमशेदजी टाटा. Jamshedji Tata. So he is the founder of the Tata Iron and Steel plant. Till today it is running, children. It is in Jharkhand today. So the tax on the foreign goods was a great help for the Indian industrialists from the government, but it was not sufficient. Many resources and facilities were needed in order to establish a company, such as railways, roads, electricity, coal, iron, water. These all are required for an industry to prosper. However, the British government did not pay any attention to the needs of the industries and development of those areas. Indian industries also had to buy all their machines from the foreign countries, because India doesn't have that indigenous technology, indigenous knowledge, okay, to make indigenous resources to make all these machines. We were dependent upon the foreign countries to import all the machines from abroad. Industries that would manufacture machines had simply not started in India. Simple machines making is also not started in India. We were dependent upon foreign countries even for the simple machines. For the development of industries, help was needed from scientists, engineers, technicians, educated workers were needed at all levels. These all were required, but education was not given importance in India. because of the British people had established very few schools, and that too only for the higher class people. The literacy rate was only 12% at the time of independence. Industrial development depended on foreigners because very few Indian scientists and engineers were there, and there was a scarcity of the scientists, there was a scarcity of engineers. Because of this scarcity, Indian industries could not develop as it should be. And in order to promote the Indian industries, there was an organization of industrialists. That means all these industrialists have formed into an organization during the British time. One of the famous federation was the FICCI. Okay, Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries. So that is the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries, FICCI. Such organizations brought the problems of the industrialists in front of the government, before the government. With the end of the British rule in India, formation of a free government, the situation got changed, and the government of India gave encouragement to the growth of the Indian industries in a planned manner, and Indian industries also got developed a lot during the first 30 years. But in 1991 again, what happened? We have opened doors for the foreign companies to enter into India. As a result of that, the Indian industries had suffered again. So we shall see in the next class about the problems of the laborers, okay, in the early ages, that means in the early industrialization age, especially in India. Thank you, children.